Hi everybody, Brian here from quantlabs.net. Just wanted to show some of the conditions of the market right now in crypto space. Right now, the market is not that strong. I'll show you in a minute what I mean. Here's the latest info. So it's not, you got Ethereum doing okay. It is slightly positive. Weighted average just under 0.5%. But here is the situation. These are the most recent moves. I've talked about this before in past videos on all these different pairs I watch via the futures data. You can see here in the last 5-6 minutes, it's all negative. And these are the conditions that I test to ensure that there's a solid, steady upward trend. Without that upward trend, and I did allow the bot to trade, chances are you'd be seeing a lot more losses. You can see here, just going through these different pairs, it's all negative over the last 5-6 minutes. It seems to be bottoming out, maybe bottom out by looking at it, but majority of it's negative. So as a result, I also have this one metric called the Riskon, and I track that. Well, you can see the start of it. So let me just show you here. If I go to the beginning, I'm just so used to VI. Okay, so you can see here that this has been tracked since March 12th. Today is April 7th. So if you look at some of these percentages of that big weighted average, and that's measured once again by those big four right here. If they're not moving, the weighted average doesn't move, and neither will the bot trade. But you can see here there were some instances of the risk on weighted average to move up 6%, 2%, and so on. And let me just go to the bottom. So over the last, I would say 2 weeks, the this average has barely moved. Very few opportunities of where it has gone over, let's say 2%. So you can see here over the last, since midnight last night, no trades have been taken because of just this. There's been very little movement with this moving average or weighted average, 1%. When it's less than, I'd say 2%, chances are it will not trade. Now, if you have followed yesterday, there were over 20% taken as returns for the day. Let me show you why. You can see here it started to get a little stronger, and there was a few hours for quite a while actually. So from April 6th, roughly at around 21:58, for a good portion of the day it was above 2. Okay, so as I said, the bot most likely will not start trading until that weighted average gets above 2.0, and then from 1:13 till about 22:54. So you're looking at 20 plus hours where it was above that 2.0, and then it just tightens up again, as you can see here. Goes negative, absolutely no trading at all. It may trade once it hits 1, but you can see, and this goes all the way back to April 4th. Here it started to trade a little bit as well. So you can see the point here is that, and again, only a week later do we start hitting those big moves again of over 2%. That's why I keep track of these this metric, the weighted average, because this tells you if you are in a trend following bot that I've got right now, it's not going to trade. But when it does trade, like yesterday, 20% return, I'll gladly take for a week of returns. So I'd be happy about that. And again, that's just the way it is. So what I've done is, as part of the planning here, um, I have here something where I'm actually now tracking blockchain stats. So I put up an article on this before my blog. Here's the source code. There is a package you can download, blockchain, and retrieve statistics from the blockchain itself. So this is all the statistics you get. The ones that I'm really interested right now are hash rate, um, difficulty as well, which can be, well, a good chunk of them, but those are the two leading ones that can be looked upon as leading indicators on price direction. So knowing that, among other things that I posted, if you haven't been onto my blog, you'll notice there's some articles in there I do post really for myself. Nobody seems to read them. So here's an example: Bitcoin flips bull with block parser and difficulty analysis. So here's a block parser of the whole blockchain and these pools, which I'm still trying to wrap my head around on how the mining works on Bitcoin. So if you look up mining on my blog, you'll see other articles as well talking about this. I'm no expert, but I give references to them. Bitcoin mining difficulty and hash rate lead indicator and price. As an example, there's also searches on blockchain as well. So what does this mean? With this type of knowledge, when the markets get into this really, really tight range bound, we'll call it, you have to look for other methodologies to look for other potential profit. And the classic one is either just trend following and momentum based. And then you also have mean reversion. I have tested, from my point of view, pair trading in crypto. From what I've seen, it cannot be done because the markets just move too quickly and the pairs are not stable enough to generate a co-integration relationship between the two for a long and a short, where they can maintain a relationship long enough. On top of that, it's not stable enough because of the volatility between all the we'll call them altcoins or smaller coins, and they move around a lot because there's just the volatility and liquidity is just the volume and liquidity is just not strong enough to stabilize the price, as opposed to stable coins like Tether or Bitcoin itself, because they're so big that they can somewhat stabilize. But even Bitcoin's not big enough, whereas you have to really use Tether as a stable coin to really be able to predict to safely trade when you take on positions without the position going against you because of a whipsaw, a negative moving whipsaw going against you, because, as I said, the volatility can be so extreme with these smaller coins. I have turned off my other bot, the penny stock one, or you want to call it a smaller moving, that only traded in Bitcoin. Now, if I had that same in Ethereum, that might be different because, again, you're really dependent upon what you're trading in. So if I go to CoinMarketCap, just to show you some theories here, if I took that same bot but only traded in Ethereum, there might be better performance. And I say that because you can see here in Bitcoin, you only get 1.61% move up, whereas Ethereum would give you better moves. But again, as I said, the market cap and trading volume, let's say on a 24-hour basis, it's still doesn't compare to other volumes. So you can see that Bitcoin alone is double that of Ethereum. But for a short term, I may be able to use that penny stock smaller bot if I trade it in Ethereum because of that performance for the day. No one can predict that. So those are sort of bots ideas, strategy ideas that may be really more unpredictable than will actually work. but I could switch everything over to Ethereum to see how it performed. There's that as well. So coming back to the stats here, what I've done is, as I said, I think studying what I've studied, mean reversion with either a Ethereum, but probably more likely a Bitcoin bot that does solely Bitcoin in USDT, or find a way to trade right on the blockchain itself. So you could, let's say, predict over a day or a couple of hours, if you know that the price of Bitcoin, let's say, would be $10,000 today, right now, buy. And then if you know that the Bitcoin will move in 2 hours, where it'll be up $500, you sell that Bitcoin position, you just made $500. So the stats and the mean reversion may be good for that. I have confirmed with some other people right now for the last, let's say, month, their best performing bots, and they've done everything, all styles of bots. The best style is either momentum. When it's momentum, it works really good, or a mean reversion strategy. But I'm thinking you better off to either do it in Bitcoin or Ethereum because of the volume and liquidity. And it also really depends upon the type of stats you can get from the blockchain to know if the stats that you get from the blockchain will help determine price direction. If you go through those articles I highlighted, you might learn some stuff from that to find those patterns. But there's definitely a phenomenon there. I've also put on my YouTube channel a video yesterday on the webinar playback. In that video, I talk about the same idea and more. So if you're interested in that, go watch that video as well. And we'll leave it at that. But these are just ideas and theories, because right now, this bot, it's hard to test right now because it's not moving. It's just not taking on positions. The bot works when the momentum's there. There's no questions on that. I'm at the last stage to test the signals. The signals work, that I know. I want to see some trades to confirm that the signals work in a natural condition, as opposed to just generating fake signals to generate the technology that will deliver the signals. So this is what delays a lot of this development right now, because of this tight range bound trading. So I'm moving on as not just as a backup, but in parallel for these sort of situations with crypto, to look at mean reverting blockchain related Bitcoin bots, and maybe in Ethereum. But I think Ethereum and Bitcoin, both blockchains, would work in the same manner. But the challenge with Ethereum is that they just changed a lot of the rules on blockchain. So now they just brought out this version 2. Obviously, that will come into play, but that's down the road. But I do think right now, for sure, it's worth looking into Bitcoin and to trade off the blockchain itself. And we'll see. How would I trade it with on blockchain? I'd have to understand the technology and how to directly trade on the blockchain. Do I need an exchange? I don't think I do, but I have to learn more about this. This is all new ideas that I'm kind of going through. So if there's a way you can cut out an exchange and just trade on the blockchain, that'd be awesome. I'm sure there is. If somebody's got a comment on that to enlighten all of us, that'd be awesome. But so far, the stats that I've seen, there's definitely patterns there on the blockchain that enable you to trade off of. And the moves are awesome. If they go against you, you'll lose a lot of money as well. So be very cognizant of that as well. Other than that, thanks for watching. Have a good day.